episode, brand new week. Candy on the mic.
Oh, well, baby.
Flamingos podcast.
Podcast, man. That's the shit. Let's go.
You just tuned into the Flamingos podcast, and my voice is gone.
Because of the game ball.
But it is what it is. We're here for our second session today from the third day of Bred Event by Hypebeast and Bragg. We have I'm out, by the way,
Kenzie on the mic.
and we have here with us one of the, I would love to say, and he is for a fact the OG in the multimedia scene. He's a director,
Yes.
producer.
Yep. Although I don't like that, but yeah.
Yeah. One of Baynuna basketball days.
Originators.
OGs as well.
Yes, definitely.
Only real ones would know
I
that.
actually got to see some of that by Nuno today too.
Yo.
We'll get into
I
it.
saw that.
We'll get into
Yes,
it.
we're gonna get to that. But I have here with me, guys, Omar Tartoob.
Let's go. على فكرة موضوع بينونة ده is very underrated, huh?
What?
It's very underrated موضوع بينونة ده. Nobody talks about it. Nobody knows.
At all.
It's the foundation.
It's the
And no one
foundation.
knows.
It's the beginning.
And that's something I'm gonna say. And correct me if I'm wrong. Did Baynuna days spark Omar Tartoob that we're seeing today?
100,000,000%. Bro, this is the foundation for everything. Baynuna and everything before it. So it's not just Baynuna. It was the basketball. It was the community around the basketball. Like, and I said it before, we were talking about it. Basketball was the hub for everything around it. So if you're talking about culture, you're talking about basketball, and you have everything around it, like the dancers, the music, the MCs, the skateboards, football.
Yeah.
The people who ما عندهم أي حاجة, they're just chilling. They're there for
البقالة.
anything. البقالة, and then you have the بقالة. And so
كفتريات. محارة بحر.
exactly, bro. So like everything. يعني like I said before.
Nebras, shout out to Nebras real quick one.
Nebras, bro. عبود, عصير عبود, bro. Like yeah. علمين was a little bit far.
Yeah,
from,
it was, yeah.
Those areas. يعني.
زياني.
Yeah, but يعني, yeah, of course. Baynuna was definitely an inspiration, foundation, and a
beginning.
A beginning. Yeah.
So before, everything else, for those that, are not aware, who is Omar Tartoob?
Okay. هي ده tough صح إنه for somebody to introduce themselves.
Himself,
بس,
yeah. That's why I gave a quick one.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go with the current one because over time until you change and you become someone else وكده. But for now I'm a director. I call myself an artist, visual artist, and a fan of music and a fan of a culture and a fan of anything that comes from home. يعني I'm a homer. So
Do you fall under the naming of a creative? Because I would love to call it more like that.
100%, of course.
To me, you are a person that ticks all the boxes of a creative.
I started يعني كان عندي I had stages. So I started as a photographer. I did some cinematography. Now I'm directing. So it's kind of the mother of all the roles. But I had stages where زمان يعني I used to draw and design. So yeah, I'm definitely a creative. Like I'm in that category.
You really sparked you showcased your talent during the videography, and you started with photography at the beginning. What made that transition? What made that shift? And how did you find yourself like I'm gonna be a videographer, a director?
In the photos or like in the photography, I was always a storyteller. Like I would love to tell a story from a picture. So if I'm taking a photo, it's not just gonna be about the photo. It's gonna be about the story. So I fell in love with the storytelling through visuals.
Okay.
And then the transition from photography to motion or videos was very seamless because in the videos you have wider space to tell the story or to showcase something. Although photos are actually harder than videos and film.
Why is that?
Because you need to tell a whole story with one frame.
Okay.
and you don't have any other elements to tell the
Okay.
story with. So
Okay.
it's just one frozen frame that you need to tell the story
It
with.
has to express a lot of meanings, a lot of stuff,
Exactly. So one click. In the film, you have
sequences.
scene,
you
yeah.
have sequences. You have more than one stage. So you have the preparation, you have the film, you have a crew, you have a full, creative crew. Anybody can come up with the input, and then you have the post with the edit, so you can change and change the narrative. But in the photos, it's just one click, one moment. You need to tell the whole story. So
Okay.
it's definitely harder. But I like to play more. So like the videos give me more space and
Okay.
more people to work with. So
Okay.
And concerning you as Tartoob, not a lot of people know the background of Omar Tartoob. Like we talk about Baynuna and we talk about the inspiration that came from those back in the days, but not a lot of people know that you as Tartoob started basically from scratch, and you moved and you kept on progressing and evolving. So can you walk us through how that process? How did you do it? What inspired you to do it? What was your inspiration behind it? And how did you find that drive to go along this path?
And I consider myself a little bit late in the game. يعني Yahya would know this because till a very late stage of my life, I did not even realize إنه I'm creative or I should be in the creative scene. So I was just doing 9 to 5. I was in a totally different life, and but I always had a camera that I was just documenting. So I fell in love with documenting things.
Yeah.
And from that, I realized that I have a different eye for even documenting just normal stuff. At that time, that was 2013, 2012. So I started doing that, and I was very consistent at it. And then I started look at myself in the mirror and see that creative person in front of me, and I started believing in myself. So that was that transition. But of course, like we were saying, we were talking about Baynuna. Baynuna, for people that don't know, Baynuna is a name for a basketball court that put people together. And of course, this is one of the things, like creatives usually work with their conscious mind.
Yeah.
All of these stuff were saved in the conscious mind, and it came
Yeah,
to life. Came to life,
as a
yeah.
result, eventually.
yeah. But then before that, I started design. Like that was the major.
Okay.
And then when I found out that I have something to do with creative and taking photos and
That's
stuff.
one thing that you said that's really caught me, and I find it really interesting. And me and the guys, we always try to do it. Consistency. That is something I believe is really a key to everything. How you manage to have this consistency? Because back in the days, how hard is it? Here, as a creative, to really, keep it. What made you really go like, what? No, I really have this. I got this.
I think I tasted something, like the passion for it. Like, it's either one of two things. But in both sides, you have to have passion. Either you have to have passion for business, or you have to have passion for the art itself for you to be consistent. So instead of looking for the consistency, I think you should look for the passion. That will, and the consistency will
It'll
come by
morph
itself.
everything
It
else
will
for
come
you.
by itself. So it's either you have the passion for business side of it, and like what is the results can happen like later if you are consistent, or the passion for the art itself. And consistent is key, even if you start with something small. And now, as I'm speaking now, I'm even preaching that to myself, because I'm losing the sense of consistency in in some stuff which we all need to do here.
And at what age did you start this?
The creative,
Yeah.
like I said, it was a little bit late. So I was
Why do you consider yourself late at that?
28, 29.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then back in the days, you used to carry. So you started. Do you really mean that you started this late professionally?
Yeah, professionally. Like when I knew that this is the
This is
path
it. This is
that I
what I'm
want
gonna-
to take. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Like in your late 20s, that's when things get really critical with your lifestyle.
I have a house. I have to have a house. I have to have a life.
And by the way, and now people come up to me and tell me that this was an inspiration move. But back in the days, I did not even know, me leaving a 5 to 9 job with nothing and just go for freelancing. Now it's a little bit easier, but back in the days, 2013, that was a little bit tough. So it was like kind of an edgy move.
It was a risky move.
It was-
I remember the exact conversation because we were working in the same place, and he was like, "Man, I'm done with this 9 to 5 thing. I need to pursue."
Right, and I had bills
And I was
to
like,
pay.
I was looking like, "Are you serious? Serious?
Is it the right time to take such a decision in my life?
You just take photos. Like, explain that to my dad. For example. Imagine me going للحاج telling him, اسمع I quit my job to take photos.
What is that? What is it gonna do?
To be honest, I didn't tell him like that. I was too scared. Slowly.
Started getting those checks.
Yeah.
اسمع you get paid. لا I got you. اسمع كنا الغدا.
And whenever, actually that's true. Whenever I get like payment for taking photos or for something creative, I'd go to my dad and tell him, Asma, this is from taking photos. And he'd look at me like,
parents from our culture, yes. That's the only way to, because I understand, by the way, why they have this stigma about us. Because it might be a bit tough for them to digest or understand where's the world going right now. It's more of a digital world.
And then
it's more
we're
of
in a community. We're in a community that believes Dr. Muhandis.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know what? Yeah, back in the days, you really had to be something like that to really make it.
Yeah.
Maybe a photographer back in the days, it wouldn't get you as much as, but now it's a whole industry. Media is a whole industry that is influential, big, blah, blah, blah.
but you know what? When did I get the approval? When did I get the right approval? And he was like, yeah, tamam, sure. When other people were telling my dad, yo, Omar
is there.
Omar is this, Omar is that. This is when he goes like,
Now he gets impressed.
You're famous.
Now I get
Full
it.
of the other ones, I showed him stuff. My name is there. I've been asked to do this. I did
You
this.
showed him a movie directed by Omar.
All of this does not work, man. I showed him everything. Actually, I worked with Shigeri. Ahmed Shigeri.
Yeah.
So he was like, soon as he saw my name في الكريدت في Twitter, he looked and he was like,
Nice work.
how come ما أخذت عمر حسيب? I'm like, how you on it?
Talking about that, what originated Omar Tartoob? What's Tartoob? Yeah, for people that don't know.
Tartoob, for people that don't know, Tartoob is a slang word for, it's mainly used in Abu Dhabi for ترتيب. So kind of like بدلعوا ترتيب لترتوب.
Yeah, as in, got it.
Yeah, and it started in a funny way. And I was picking the name to actually start a business. I was like, I'll call it Tartoob, and then everybody started calling me Tartoob. I'm like, guys, this is
Alright,
supposed
this
to be
is
this is the business. But then it actually became like
It became its
a
own
brand.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how it came about, and it's well known in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, everybody that you go to in Abu Dhabi, especially the young ones right now, and I see you every time.
Yeah.
اسمع كده 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 كده
Tartoob.
Tartoob, got it.
That's
Bro,
it.
Yeah.
also because for a very long time, I also know you from before from before the business. So,
I have a photo,
huh?
I have a photo. I can show it to you now.
Okay. I want to see that. I want to see that.
Nobody wants to see that.
I really want to see that. He's in it too.
Okay.
لا لا ما أسمع.
لا, keep talking, keep
I don't-
talking.
So I remember I keep telling when I speak about you, I keep saying Omar Hasib. And they go like, who's Omar Hasib? They go like, oh yeah.
الفكرة it's هي في defined line كده. Anybody calls me عمر حسيب طوالي بعمل I know the calculation انه 2014 and before طوالي.
This guy from that
It's
time.
like,
I know this guy from that time.
Anybody calls Tartoob but does not identify حسيب like you're 7 years جديد.
late.
Not enough history there.
Okay. Okay, talking about the industry that you're in, well, the media industry, right? How was it when you first started professionally?
Professionally,
Yeah, you started officially at what year?
2014.
But before that, I remember there was videos. So you're heavily affiliated with FREEK, and I would like to consider Ahmed Carter has been always there in your journey. And shout out to Ahmed Carter as well.
Shout out to Ahmed Carter. السعودية.
What was your involvement? And I'm gonna bring this from the dust. What was your involvement in FREEK TV? That's something that
Wow.
culture.
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi.
A lot of people do
a lot.
not
Skate
even.
park.
That's it. So Baynuna Skate Park, this is when it started. Like that's the foundation. When I said the foundation for everything, I really meant it. It's the foundation for everything. So FREEK was a skateboarder in that park.
Yeah.
FREEK, for people that don't know, he started doing videos long before we all started. He started doing sketches in Abu Dhabi.
I remember the sketches.
Yeah,
Stretch.
Yeah.
yeah.
So he started doing sketches, and he was doing videos here and there. And then we connected. When I started doing videos, I started studying in SAE in a film school, and FREEK used to act. So with the videos that he make, he used to act. So
Let's now moving on to how you met FREEK as well.
no, okay. So how we met FREEK? We met since we're 13, 14.
I mean, when you started
From
working
the basketball
together,
court and from the street, from the mother care court.
I
It's called
know
mother
it,
care
I know
court.
it,
You
I
know
know
it,
it, I
huh?
know it,
It's crazy.
كان BHS برضه هناك.
We were just talking about that wasn't even a court. That was just a parking lot where imagine that a father got his son a basketball rim. No, it was in Khaldiya. Just got him a basketball
parking
rim
lot.
and put it outside. Then this basketball court became like a pinned location for the best bowlers in the city, for people to hang out, for people to meet up, and it became like a hub, And shout out to his father and shout out to Charlie. His name was Charlie. He was a little kid. Shout out to them. لأنه if they just remove that rim, they will demolish. Yeah, exactly. They will demolish a lot of dreams, a lot of activities that were depending on that place. So going back to it, me and FREEK, we met there, and me and FREEK used to live in the same area, not Siyahi. So we live in the same area and we go to the same courts and playgrounds. So it was very organic. 2014, when I got into film, we became stronger. Our relationship became stronger because we were in the same direction of doing videos, entertainment in general. So everything was very organic.
Yeah.
Then we started shooting music videos and content and stuff.
And you have been the person who's always directing our FREEK videos, right? Since the kickoff of his career, you've been there since now, right? And this is something that we've always been talking about, that these guys started as a team, and it's always important that if you're gonna have a project, it's really important to have the people around you, a team, a family that, they all share the same vision, they all together, and the kickoff, and it's something rare. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah, and and it doesn't have titles. So, for example, if FREEK is performing, we will just sit down and hang out and do the visuals for him, for example. So it's not like I'm doing this certain thing for FREEK. It's still very professional, but it's still also organic, and it's kind of a family vibe. So it's because of that, that's why there is a continuity in it. There is a kind of longevity in it. We were just in Lebanon filming something, and it was very professional, going there, filming something.
So you always keep that professionalism. Also
there,
but
we're still brothers, family, and the whole thing. Ahmed Carter. Actually, Ahmed Carter was the first to actually shoot a music video for FREEK. Although me and FREEK know each other من زمان, Ahmed Carter was the first one to shoot the first 2 music videos for FREEK.
Talking about, a small introduction as well. We wanted originally to do this with Ahmed Carter because, Anna, to me, you two are one of the pillars that I see in Abu Dhabi, in that, in the entertainment field especially. Give a little bit of an introduction to people, about...
Shout out to Ahmed Carter, because a lot of people escaped and went to Dubai. We're the people that held it down and we stayed here. So, of course, shout out to my Abu Dhabi brother Ahmed Carter and family, of course. But Ahmed is also a creative, a producer, mainly a producer khatir. We would do a lot of projects where he's the producer, I'm a director, and we will نكمل البزل, me and him. But he's also creative. He started stuff long time ago. He was one of the people that started this from scratch, from nothing. He hustled and did it by himself against all odds. I know when I say against all odds, because this
really
has
tough.
Yeah, it was
really
never
tough.
a paving road for all of us to actually go and knock these doors and showcase your stuff. If you're in Abu Dhabi, you know this. Of course, now Abu Dhabi is different. Now
Yeah.
it's changing.
That's now where we go back to the question earlier. Where was it? Where is it now that you see it, especially in the industry you're in?
It's totally different. Like it started something. It started where people did not know what the photographer is, not the normal people, but even the companies. Companies were used to dealing with other companies from different parts of the world.
Foreign, yeah.
Yeah, like they will never consider someone that look like them or someone from that lives here is a creative or can take a responsibility in, like, you know, filming for a brand or doing something. So it was 100% hard. Now it's different because of the events like this. I remember back in the days in 2014, they were, I don't know if you guys remember it, Creative Lab in 2454.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Till
We
now,
recorded there. I was
yeah,
thinking
bro,
episode.
We were there, yeah.
till now we're talking about it because of here. Aslan, it's been there for actively for a couple of years.
Yeah.
2012 to 2015 or 16. But trust me, till now, we meet each other, the people who are from the media industry, and we talk about it as if this was a college or a university.
Spot.
That because it was a spot. It was just a place that had recording studios, panel talk.
You know what surprised me? People didn't know that all of that was for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah.
knows.
You know, when we went and recorded over there, people started approaching us and they're like, "Yo, how much you paying to record?" I was like, "Bro, we're doing it for free."
100%.
People never really asked or researched enough to
have
know
that
that,
information.
yo, you have a specific area that is
The
created
facilities,
for
you
you.
have the equipments and everything. It was-
Man, when I found out, it's like I know I won the lottery, but for free,
Yeah.
I had to go and check. But then we registered and we went there. So all I'm saying, this place didn't have anything but space. So it's just a space, and people meet, and this is where it sparked everything. So this is where it used to be harder, but with spaces like that, it's easier. With the
to understand.
to just see people, because then I still call me from the old school, but I still do not believe in the networking online.
Face
for
to
me,
face.
face to face, even if it's one time. Shout out to I am Subayhi, is one of the dopest directors in the city, and we met face to face, not online. Like
That's how it connects.
this is how it connects people. So meeting people and being with them in the same space, feeling the vibe.
It's easier right now
It's
as well.
easier. It's easier. So answering the question, back in the days there was nothing. Now it started to be, although it's slow. I'm not gonna say like it's a huge change. It's very slow in Abu Dhabi, and it's kind of like nobody's believing in the space mentality.
Yeah.
It's just put a space and see what creatives can do or the people around it can do.
This will lead to my next topic. Sorry, what kind of advice do you give for the next generation or the next set of creatives who will
Creatives,
come? Yeah, creatives in general.
Be around other creatives.
Build up a
be
community.
consistent. It's also our responsibility. We're paving the road for these creatives to come up and find something. But it's also a collective effort. Two things. Reach out to other creatives and be consistent with whatever you're doing, even though it's something small. Just keep doing it, even if it's like just
So connect.
connect,
Consistency.
and
Stay
consistency. Believe in the little thing that you're doing, the little things. Now, when we're talking about the stuff that we did 2013 and stuff like that, at that time we did not really think that these things are actually big. I never thought that I would be sitting here talking about the stuff that I did 2013, 2012, 2011, because at that time I was seeing these things are really small and
Nobody cared
nobody's
about it.
gonna see this. Bro, like when FREEK did Batali, he did not know that somebody else is gonna listen to this, let alone playing it on the stage. Well, for me to see my stuff on a big screen, like I just walked by and I saw the Bred campaign that I did, and I'm not taking these things for granted, like these are milestones. So like if you want to, like for the young creatives, be consistent and be proud of the littlest thing that you're doing.
And coming to Bred, the event, it's Bred, Brag, High Beast, and this
Big.
is something that came out for Abu Dhabi. is something that we've always been talking about. It's, you know, even when we meet, for example, on a low key outside, or me and the guys when we sit in the show, that we've always wanted something like this in the city, in Abu Dhabi. You know, what does it mean to you as a person that came all this long way?
A lot, man. Wallahi, a lot. Like this is big for the city. Yani, I heard a couple of people now talking about, but Bred is not like. I'm like, shut up. It's happening, and
This
like
is-
let's celebrate
Yes.
this because it's going to be
Yes, we did. 4 minutes.
because it's going to be a milestone بعدين.
Yeah, that's
Like we need to celebrate it now because it's going to be a milestone بعدين.
This is the
And
infrastructure, and this is the beginning. And
this is the
for
beginning.
something-
Let's
something
just
good.
celebrate it. And like I said earlier, this is like the playground from back in the days, but with a budget and with something big. So this is a milestone. I really love it, man. Like this is the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Tell us
what
about
happened?
your work in Bred.
And Bred. So Brad, the company who are
Brought this. Yeah.
did this
Production. Yeah.
basically, yeah. Behind the concept as well. They got in touch and they wanted me specifically to be part of the campaign because I represent Abu Dhabi and that's how they view it. And that was a couple of months ago. And to be honest, like when we spoke a lot about it, I knew it was going to be big, but I did not know it was going to be this big.
I swear, first day, also especially the first day, I didn't expect as much of footfall around.
No, it's big. It's
You know,
bigger than I
it's-
thought. One
yeah.
I was kind of part of. Like I knew the plan وكده.
You
but
managed your expectations somehow.
kind of because you know like نحن شوية we're traumatized هنا يعني. Yeah, that's why. But I did the campaign. I directed the campaign for Bred, and it was done. What I love about it that it was done in Abu Dhabi by Abu Dhabi people, the crew from Abu Dhabi, the cast. I can't even call them cast. It was just they were featured in it because they were from Abu Dhabi. And we shot it in Khaldiya, shout out Khaldiya. And yeah, and that was my involvement with Bred. So the campaigning leading up to the event. So in the event, I'm just chilling again. You know.
Omar, a legend from Abu Dhabi. Any closing words that you want to have for everybody out there?
Come to Bred, man.
That's it.
We're here.
Bred.
For, there's 2 more days left, right? We're here till the 30th.
FREEK is performing tomorrow,
Yeah.
29th. So come check this out. It's going to be a blast. He just injured, by the way, FREEK just
knee?
injured his knee. And I don't know how
During
he's
the
going to
game?
mosh pit and jump around. But we'll manage it. We'll see. Yani. We'll carry it. Yeah, we'll carry him. We'll see. We'll see how we do this.
Yo, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to everybody that did this together. Shout out to you, Tartoob. Shout out to everybody that was involved in putting this. This is something great. This is something that was needed for the culture. There is something that was needed, especially for Abu Dhabi. It's something that made people like us نقعد في الحلة, you know, we talked that we need this, we need that, you know, and it just happened. I don't believe that we should talk negatively about it because here it is. You don't have an
happening.
excuse anymore. It's something you asked for, and here it is.
Yeah.
Come through, you know, pull up. And this was everything for today for us from the second session, from the Flamingos podcast and Omar Tartoob. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Yad.
Kenzie on the mic.
Nawab.
Enter.
Thank you guys for having me. This
And
is
Omar.
no, I'm not gonna say Omar. Thank you guys for having me. This was a blast. I'm finally on the Flamingos podcast.
We're
يعني,
gonna
I know
have the
these,
next one as well.
I know, yeah, I know these guys personally, but I'm really proud of you guys starting this from scratch. I remember from the pandemic, like you guys just went with it, and you were very consistent. Talking about consistency, you guys يعني, are making an example out of it. So like,
I
يعني,
appreciate it, man.
I'm finally on the Flamingos podcast. This is not going to be the last. I'm calling you out يعني, in front of everybody.
Yo, till the next one, and peace.
Peace.